pleased to bring up our special guests, the screenwriter, Scott Neustadter, everybody, and our film's director, Marc Webb.
Thank you
Ladies
guys
and gentlemen.
for coming out.
This is a great film. This is the second time we've done this film at this exact time. Mark, you were with us last year. Scott, thank you for joining us this year. On a personal note, I saw this, like I said, on my 4th date with my wife. We've been together for a decade now, so I think this is a test of if you're going to be in a good romantic relationship from this point on, this is a good first movie to see.
Yes, maybe there's some people in the audience. The funny thing is, there's a lot of stories that come out of this. Relationships that have not gone well, and then there's other relationships that have gone very well.
Sure.
But I think that are revealed after they watch the movie. I think
we've had a lot of people say thank you, and we've had a lot of people say something I'm not going to say. But,
well, I mean, let's get right into the meat of it. Right off the top of the film, I'm going to read the opening credit. Author's note: the following is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to any persons living or dead is purely coincidental. Especially you, Jenny Beckman, you expletive. I'm not going to say it. So I'm guessing this is going to go right to you, Scott. This seems pretty personal. Is that the case?
Yeah, sure. This was written, my friend and I kind of wrote this from opposite coasts. I was in London at the time, he was in New York, and it started as me emailing him saying, she and I went out last night, this thing happened, I said this, but should I have said this instead? Then she said this, and I don't understand, what did it mean? And it was really a lot of that kind of back and forth. We never ever thought this was something anyone was going to ever read. It was really written as a cathartic sort of trying to figure out what just happened between me and this girl I had dated. And thanks to Mark and a lot of other people kind of surprisingly digging it, the movie got made, and believe me when I tell you that is a really unexpected thing. And
really?
It's really cool that you guys are here to see it either for the first time or again, because trust me, when we were writing it, it was a very solitary experience.
So it's almost like a diary between two men living in the single world trying to figure out
figure it out. Yeah, the idea that she just wasn't that into me didn't make any sense.
No, of course not.
So we had to do all the digging to get the psychology and to get to the bottom of it, and this turned into that.
So this is your, and I believe it's Michael? Was it Michael Webber? Your brainchilds together. Now, you put the pen to paper. You actually created your cathartic moment into a motion picture. Did you see yourself as Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
I mean, honestly, it was written. You can't think about actors when you write stuff,
right?
Because you could get turned around. But this was very much written about me. I certainly saw myself, and then when it became a movie, he kind of took it and ran with it, and he's so much cooler than I ever was. And
well, his
even
dance
when he's
moves
not
are
cool,
fantastic. I mean,
it was a very fortunate break that we would get a guy like that to play my lame verse, like myself. So
now, you said Mark made it happen. What was the relationship between you two? How did you know each other? How did you team up on this project?
We didn't know each other. I read the script, and then they didn't want me involved. They were like, I'd only done music videos at that part.
That's absolutely not true. We didn't want anyone involved. It was one of those things where when you write something super personal and you don't want to direct it yourself, the director that comes in can kind of say, I got this, and do whatever they want with it.
Right.
And that's the danger and the fear, and that happens most of the time.
Right.
And so they were talking to directors. Mark was one of them. They said, we love this guy, and we said, oh shit. But then when we met you, we had lunch at like Citizen Smith or somewhere that doesn't even exist anymore.
That's right, yeah.
And we loved him, and it was really, we spent a year just talking before they let you actually go make the thing. But it was a great inclusive experience for us who, you had no reason to include us. So we're very grateful.
Mark, a lot of the people on Twitter were asking questions. I think it's pretty clear, except for me, who's colorblind. I am. There seem to be a lot of colors at play in the film, right? As a matter of fact, we will not be doing any spoilers, by the way, so don't worry. We will not discuss anything at the end of the film if you haven't seen the film. But a lot of people said that his vision and her vision were shot in completely different colors. Is that the case?
Well, there was a color scheme involved.
Sure,
this
right.
is a very, sort of a minor detail in the movie. But we just, there was, when you're designing a movie, you want a color palette, and we made it all sort of tertiary or secondary colors, no primary colors, except for the color blue,
right,
which was only on the screen when Zoe's around.
Right.
So, because Zoe's has these amazing blue eyes that deserve a sound effect of their own. They're so big. And so we just based a lot of the design, both her outfits and the production design around her eyeballs, around the color of her eyeballs.
So that's actually on a lot of the fan pages that you intentionally use blue to make her eyes pop.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, I love movies that don't necessarily go straight linear order. Did it jump in that much, or was that added later on?
No, it was really not until I kind of hit upon that whole thing did I think, maybe we should turn this into a screenplay.
Right.
Maybe that would be a way to get people more interested in my whining, which is what it was. It was 100 pages of whining. But once we sort of said, you know what, if you did it this way and you could juxtapose certain moments in a relationship together and you could tell it in that style, maybe then other people would be interested. And so it was always written that way out of fear, mostly, that everyone would be bored regardless.
But a quick shout out and a sincere thank you to two other wonderful cast members who are in the audience tonight. Rachel Boston, who plays Allison in the film, is here. Give it up for Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
And give it up for Miley Flanagan, who's also here. Is in a great scene with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who pitches her wonderful greeting cards about her cats. But the casting was so spot on in this film. Were some of the actors pitched to you, or once you started formulating it out, did you progressively go after?
We're far enough away from the process that everybody's confident enough, all the actors are confident to say that, so many people turned down the movie. There were many actors that turned down the movie. And I honestly didn't think I wasn't sure that the studio would make it with Joe, because Joe had just done Brick at the time and The Lookout, neither of which were massive hits, but they were such cool movies. And I knew he could be, I had met with him, and I had talked to him. He had a really a great connection to the story, had a great earnestness, but I also knew he could do comedy in a way that wasn't preposterous.
Right.
So he came, actually we cast Zoe first.
Really?
And then, but I had met Joe before that, and then I had done a little movie together called Manic. Mm-hmm. And I think when you're doing a movie like this, chemistry is a crucial thing. You need a dynamic. You can't just cast actors independently. You have to think about how they interact with each other. And again, before I cast Zoe, I had talked to Joe, and I was like, who do you think would play? And he's like, well, really, he bandied about a few names, but he's like, really, it's Zoe. Zoe is the perfect person for this. And they had a really great vibe in that movie, Manic. Very different movie about I won't get into it, but it's a very different movie. I thought they really connected. They thought they had a very easy way with each other. That really felt like it on screen.
On set, was it just as fun to make?
I didn't sleep a lot. I was I remember we shot the Ikea scene. And
I had fun.
I felt like, you were, at craft service the entire time. You had done your job. I remember going to doing the Ikea scene, and we only had a few hours because we had to close Ikea, and I felt like I didn't nail it. I felt like I messed it up because it was sort of a longer take where we couldn't do a lot of coverage, and so the timing of it, we were sort of obliged to the timing of it. And I went back home and I threw up. I came back at like 9 o'clock in the morning. It was the night of the Universal fire. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, every day lost.
And it was just that was like an omen for me. And I was like, this is my career is over. I had never made a movie before, so I didn't know. I didn't have a radar for what was good and what was bad. And I think because of that, I probably over-prepared. Not over-prepared. I just like I was thinking about a lot of details, and. But it was like, I think back on it as a really joyful, fun, pleasant experience. But if I really look at my journals or something, it was terrifying.
It was So you had made the transition from directing music videos to directing film, and you had written Pink Panther 2 before this. No, that wasn't the case.
No.
Then my IMDb research is completely off. I apologize.
Hollywood is a funny place.
It is.
We had written this way before.
You did this way before. Okay.
Way before.
So this is the first project.
And this was a script that people had read and had enjoyed, but no one wanted to make or have anything to do with. But it opened some doors, and one of them was at Sony, and they said, the only thing we have is this sequel to the Pink Panther movie with Steve Martin. Would you want to do that? And I said, no. Why would I want to do that? And they said, okay. And then our agent said, you've never been paid $1. Don't you want this to be a job? Isn't this a career? Like, in the grand scheme of things, don't you want to be a working writer?
Right.
And we said, oh yeah, we do want to do that. And so we came up with an idea for it, and they hired us, and they made it way before anything ever happened with this movie. So it would appear on IMDb before, but not exactly right in terms of the.
See, that's a good lesson. You know, listen. You make the passion project that leads to better things. I mean, it's.
If they make any movie, you're as a writer, a screenwriter, you're just fortunate to keep having the opportunity to try to get a movie made.
Is there anything specific that we don't know? Any fun anecdotes from the film that we should know about? I mean, you guys were on set for a good chunk of time doing this. Is any behind the scenes?
There weren't really a lot of hijinks. It was a very quick movie to shoot. I mean, I think there were things that, like, looking back on it, I remember we got one emphatic note from someone who will remain nameless about taking out that Jenny Beckman thing. They're like, for the love of God, you're going to offend all the women in the audience, and like it was
really?
Like a passionate plea for us to take that out. And I remember we showed it at Sundance for the first time, and like that came up, and Jenny Beckman came up, and like the crowd laughed, and like we felt like we had them.
It's a tone setter,
and it's a total tone setter. It's like it's a sort of a meta kind of introduction.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was really, but it's like powerful people telling you that you're making something wrong. That happened time and time again. I mean, there was all the sort of idiosyncratic stuff in the movie had been attacked at one point or another.
Wow.
And
I think we were, I don't know about you, but a lot of us were sitting around thinking every day, are they really letting us do this? When's the note come in that we have to have a happy ending? When is it going to be, well, you can't do it this way, you have to do it this way. And I think every day was kind of really exciting and fun that we could do this the way we wanted to do it.
Well, I think it goes to show everybody who's making some sort of art project or something that they're putting out to the world that do stick to your guns, because you guys made close to a perfect film, in my opinion. I'm serious. This is a film that it really explores love in all of its corners and shines a light in places in the back alleys of Ikea where the real fights are had. And I thank you for highlighting it. One of the last questions. This is the one that got voted up the most. Does this young woman look like Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah.
Yes, she does. All right, cool. You guys got voted up the most. If you guys go on Street Food Cinema hashtag, you can see the young woman. She's right there. She's right there. You look like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Stand up, everybody. There it is.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
He wears the same cutoffs.
He does.
He has the same days you do.
You pull it off much nicer.
Yes.
I have to say a sincere thank you for both of you guys coming out tonight. This really touched a lot of people, and you can see.
Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you to all of you amazing people out there. How cool.